I think we should start with their roster moves, right? Because we had talked about this towards the end of last night's show a little bit in terms of kind of not necessarily how they get to 80. We had, obviously, who was it? Lange and somebody last night.
Ronnie Perkins.
They didn't travel?
Or didn't travel, and now Lange's still on the team for now. They didn't move on from him. Perkins, and we can get into these probably a little bit here. Perkins wasn't there. Stueber, I mean, we didn't see him in the spring. Like he's I think a red shirt through and through.
Absolutely.
Perkins, I mean, it's like kind of shades of Anthony Jennings, except Anthony Jennings played a bit his first year. He was their second most used linebacker his first year. Perkins is now going to go 2 years without playing a game. And for a top 100 pick, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what their plan is for him, right? They had this log jam at edge rusher for so long behind. They had those veterans, right? Kyle Vanoy, Jamie Collins, and they had this log jam of guys like Josue, Chase Winovich, Anthony Jennings, Ronnie Perkins. And you're kind of starting to see that log jam get thinned out. And it seems like Jennings and Uche are the guys who are going to step up here and really win those snaps.
Yeah, and I kind of tweeted it too. Like it's not it's not good for Perkins, right? Because you kind of figured last year, they spent big money on Judon. They had an older team, right? They do it every year with one rookie. It just depends who, right? Take some time into the system, kind of figure out how to be a pro, develop into your pro body, and then year two they kind of take off. We saw with Trey Flowers, right? Like the list kind of goes on and on. And you come into camp this year and you'd think, this guy's going to, not be an every down player, but somebody that can certainly help you, in spurts and in different situations. And he had not looked, he just kind of was out there at camp, never really popped, never really stood out. And now he's going to miss his second straight year. And I don't think he was battling much, right? It's one of those, kind of the Foxborough flu, everybody calls it.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I had tweeted it, there is some hope for him, right? Because we did see this with Anthony Jennings, and I know Jennings did play a little bit as a rookie, but that was a much different team. They had a ton of opt-outs. I feel like he was almost forced to. And then last year he was IR'd because they got all the opt-outs back in. They brought Collins and Van Noy and all these guys back, and now he's a huge piece of their defense. So I think, it's obviously not ideal. He spent a top 100 pick. I think, what did he go, 96 last year? Somebody that probably should be helping you by this point in his career. But, one of those things, right? Jennings popped. Uche has looked good. Judon's back, right? Like he's just further and further down the depth chart. And I don't know necessarily if there's room for him this year, right? So there's still some hope there, but all in all, it's not great to see from a top 100 pick just a year ago. Still has not played an NFL game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's kind of, you're right. It should be shocking. Maybe it's not as shocking because this is the way that, they've brought along a lot of guys slowly here in the last couple of years out of the draft. This is sort of what they do. But yeah, no, he's a guy. I mean, you now just kind of push to 2023. And by the way, if Anthony Jennings has a big season this year, get ready for, they did it with Jennings and it worked. So here comes Ronnie Perkins. He's going to be a big contributor. Like, get ready for that because that's coming.
Right. Oh, it certainly is. But I just think, too, we kind of saw this coming when you kind of had to – that's a very competitive group. It seemingly always is on their teams, no matter how good that unit is. They usually have a really good front seven. So it's tough to find snaps. But like I said, that's a guy who last year when they picked him, it was kind of a head-scratcher. But at the same time, it was one of those best player available. This guy had fallen in the draft a little bit. Let's take a flyer on him. But I think regardless, that whole draft in a whole – They hit the nail on the head. Their first two picks were money, like absolute money, right? You can't hit all your picks. Even Mermondre was their fourth round pick. So 3 out of their first 4 last year are already immediate contributors, people that you're probably going to build around for the foreseeable future. It's tough. Beggars can't be choosers. That draft was really, really good up to this point. And I think, is the writing on the wall for Perkins? I guess we'll see. But like I said earlier, it's tough to see.